Yeah, this is my boy DJ Screw. Today we're gonna put together the true story of Robert Earl Davis Jr. Big Time Records, Houston, Texas, 1997. A style of music started and pretty much took over the Southwest region. At that time, I was managing an artist by the name of Tulo with the major record label Rap-A-Lot Records. I also managed an artist by the name of Gangsta Nip with Rap-A-Lot Records. Robert Earl Davis came to me after I was managing an artist, while I was managing an artist named PSK 13. At Big Time Records label, very small label owned by Russell Washington. He was beginning to get a little notice. He was the one who found Pimp C and UGK out of Port Arthur, Texas. Russell got his hands on Screw, and Screws, they did a couple of projects. Robert's first manager name was Charles Washington. And Charles Washington was pretty much you would call a street promoter. He wasn't very, in my opinion, because me and Charles has had words over the past. He felt I had stole his artist. Screw. I didn't really at that time. I was a student at Texas Southern, and I didn't really know about Screw music other than what was being said in Houston. So after I had negotiated a deal for my youngest artist, Tulo had a hit out called "Funky Little Brother," was Scarface play Little Brother. So while he was on Rap-A-Lot, he put out the hit song "Funky Little Brother," and when he did that, he came to me and he was like, "Okay, Rodney, can I get your help?" And a lot of them came to me about helping them because either they need knowledge about publishing or the reading of their contracts. So sometimes I would get involved in it, and sometimes I would kind of stay away from artists because that was a dangerous path to go down, and especially if you're going down a path where you're dealing with Rap-A-Lot Records. Jay Prince has always been, serious about his business, and what artists and musicians or producers don't understand when they have managers is that sometimes you can get your manager caught up in the crossfire. These guys are very, very serious about everything they do, and I'm very, very serious about everything I do. And one of them is not out there trying to talk down on any of those powerful men. Dame, my teacher always told me you don't buck an institution, and Rap-A-Lot Records at that time as well as now was an institution. So when my artist Gangsta Nip was saying he didn't get his royalties or something is not right, your job as a manager is to check it, but your job as a intelligent person is to deal with that wisely. Don't go over to those people, place of business, telling them because you don't know uh, what's the procedures or what royalty are due if you don't have a full statement. And there's always recoupment costs. You have to recoup the monies that is spent on your project before you get your monies. And then you talking about a manager, then the manager is getting the last of the last. And most black artists who live in the ghetto and who have never touched real money, they don't know how to employ a person. I can remember going on the road with Screw and with Young Star, who did the song "Wanna Be a Baller," and another one of my artists was PSK 13. He did the album Born Bad. Y'all check that out. And see, PSK 13, he was more of a man more than some of the other artists that I had the opportunity to manage. Uh, he knew PSK was a man who had a family and who took the rap game serious. It's not about getting high and drinking syrup every day. Uh, when me and Screw finally got together, uh, I had met his road manager, or whatever Charles Washington want to call himself at that time. Uh, Charles was out there putting in work for Screw. So me and Screw was riding one day. He came over and picked me up, and I had a LS 400 Lexus, the big body, and so uh, we was riding. I always liked to ride, uh, like like I rode back then in nice cars and things of that nature. So, and we was at that time we was getting $8, $9 a CD uh, over at Southwest Wholesale. Uh, so with that, we was we was we was doing over 100,000 pieces on Screw uh, with Russell Washington. Screw had a check for almost 70 some thousand dollars sitting up under his bed for like almost 60 days. I was like, Screw, you need to have a bank account. I never called him Screw. I always called him Robert. So Robert, you need to get a bank account. So we went and opened up a business account over in here in Houston in the area called River Oaks. More wealthier people lived over there. Screw was nowhere near that type of money, but he had the potential to go to a different level. Screw and I had the problem where we was making money or he was making money, but he couldn't figure out. And he would always tell me this. He was like, well, this shit ain't legal, right? And my music is ain't my music, is someone else's music. I just screw and chop it. Uh, and that's what everybody, from Houston all the way down to Louisiana, we was shipping so far. They wanted that. That is exactly what they wanted to hear. Him take a song and just really, really do it. And so it became a promotional tool for not only us at Big Time Records, but other local artists who wanted to get in the music business. So Screw would sometimes have a freestyle sessions over at his place and record the guys, and that's how he started doing his. Or the mixtapes really came into to play, and Kiki and ESG and Big Mo and Big Pokey, uh, all of those artists and a lot of other artists got their start from screwing music and let them just freestyle on it. And one of the best freestyle flows ever came out, and I ended up signing him also as well. Was Youngstar in the June 27. It's famous down here, so uh, it just it started blowing up big, and even where the worldwide artists would call down here sometimes and ask for Screw to screw their music and how can they get on a Screw tape. It had became real big. So uh, Robert knew I was a day person. Me and Screw, Screw was a night person, what I call night people, and I was a day person. I I'm a businessman. I was a college student when I was helping and guiding him on his path. Uh, and one day, Screw got up a little earlier because we had business to take care of. And as we was riding, I was riding with him, and UGK song came on the radio, and they was like, "The King of the South is DJ Screw," and it's a very hit song. I just remember some of the lyrics to it, but and Robert, I was telling Robert, I was like, "See, man, you bigger than what you think." I say that what y'all doing is small time. You need to, get out this little old raggedy car with this music in it and get you something to show the true reflection of who you are, brother. I said, you know, uh, first we was passing this car lot, and I said, "Look, you want that Lexus, man? Let's go over there." No, I don't want no Lexus. Screw's more laid back. He didn't want to be all uh, luxury type guy, and so we passed. We was going back to his house, and so this car lot called Ennis Cabell, a black guy who used to play baseball for the Houston Astros. So he had a car lot, and it was a black Impala sitting on the showroom floor. And as we was passing, the Screw said, "I like that Maze. I like that black Impala." I said, "Well, pull on over there. Let's talk to these people." So as we pulled over there, we went inside. I said, I want to talk to the financial manager. I took the lead on it, and I said, well, after I talked to the financial manager, I showed him what is called a sound scan. A sound scan is a report of all the sales we had at that particular time, and the album hadn't been out no more than 2 months. And I told him that we get $9 a CD times 140 some thousand copies we had sold at that particular time, which put us at almost $250,000. So the Black Impala was about $27,000. So he called over to uh, Southwest Wholesale from the car lot, and they verified that yes, Robert Earl Davis Jr. is DJ Screw, and yes, this is his new album, and yes, the royalties. And we didn't have to wait on royalties because Russell and Screw was pretty much had a kind of a partnership type agreement, so he didn't have to wait 6 months for a royalty check per se. So after they verified it, they gave Screw the keys to the Black Impala, and Screw, I drove his car home, and he followed him to his house as him and his girl at that time, Nikki. He took the car on home, and he eventually got it painted blue, changed it from black to blue. He put all his system in there. About 2 days later, we went up there and he signed the paper. He was like, "Mays, you a genius," because I pretty much showed them a sound scan report, and then he pretty much got the car by signing his name. We had our ups and downs. The main thing was how could because the product that Russell was putting out, it was still that it still was he was the owner of that music, so it wasn't copyright infringement or anything like that. Screw name had got so big that you know if he would have found a way, or if I could have found a way, or because his contract was up with Russell. I know Russell put out another one after Screw death, uh, but Screw and I talked to the brother. That's the difference. I talked to the brother every day. He would come get me, and him and I would strategize, or I would try to get him to see the big picture, and he started seeing the big picture, but he didn't get to see the whole big picture. The feds ran up in his house because he every day he had a line around the block, and neighbors started complaining. So I said, Screw, you need to get a store, a shop. Um, he he wanted to keep them on tape when at that time DVDs was beginning to uh, we was beginning to flip over from cassette tapes to DVDs, and people was putting DVDs in their cars, and so uh, he got the store, and uh, we had a falling out, and I'll tell y'all about the falling out later. But and after we fell out, uh, I got with an artist called Youngstar. He had just done the song "Wanna Be a Baller." It blew up. Sony wanted him, and they end up signing him, and then they released him because of they, you know, he wasn't quite, in my opinion, as an artist, he was young and he wasn't quite aware of how big the stage he had got on, and so most of the South Side guys, in my opinion, wasn't ready for the stardom. They was local, and then when it started blowing up bigger, things started happening. First, Fat Pat's song "Top Drop" started blowing up, and shortly after that, before the full album could get out, he was killed. So that was a big blow. And then after Fat Pat, his brother Hawk had put out and Hawk was a real good person, and I felt very bad when he had passed. He put out a good album, and later on he was killed. Um, so it has things started going that type of negative energy, while the North Side guys, Swisser House and Michael 5000 watch started blowing up, and they started taking the craft that Screw had geniusly invented or created, and started doing the same thing Screw was doing. But he called his Swisser House, and he built that name. Screw didn't have a problem with people who could do the art of screwed and chopped. He didn't have a problem with that because neither he couldn't copyright that or anyone else could copyright that. But he had the problem with if he was going to say that's a screw tape, then you saying the man, the master, my brother screwed it, and that's what he would have the problem. If he didn't screw it, it's not a screw tape. He would always say it's. You can call it like on American Gangster. You can call it Blue Thunder. I don't give a damn what you call it, as long as you don't call it what I have and built a brand on it. So Screw was one of the first ones to build a brand down here. Some of the other ones they built labels and. Of course, Jay Prince, he built a brand as well as a successful company. But what Screw built was an art style that no one had ever heard. Well, another guy prior to him, he did something like that called what was that guy's name? Michael Scott, something like that. But that's where Screw had got it from. So the art form of Screw took it to another level. He was doing sometimes 200-300 tapes out the back of his house, on a Monday. So we would, and from he had a regular little green house, burglar bars around it. So after we got the store, you know, he started, looking bigger for bigger things, and that was the studio, and getting this relationship with Robert Gillum over at Southwest Wholesale, where you can go worldwide and be able to produce that type of material. Um, Things when I got the call about I think 3 in the morning, that Screw had died. Uh, but prior to his death, he had came over. I had a record store over in Third Ward called Third Ward Records and Tapes, and that we Youngstar and I and Din Din and all of they little crew, they came in on the record store, and we did an album release party for Young Star that night, and Screw came by, and me and him had a sit down, a heart to heart sit down, and I told him, brother, I wanted the best for you, but I have a family and I have to eat too. I can't work for someone and not get paid. A lot of times in the record business, you know, those brothers don't know how to pay you because half of the time they ain't seen that type of money. And then when you work, you working for free until monies are able to start coming in. So that became a big problem with a lot of the artists that I managed in the record business back in the '90s. They they feel you supposed to wait until the royalty check come, and then uh, nobody thinks about the number of hours and the time frame you have put into this. Any of the artists is there's no guarantee you're gonna sell a BB. Meaning there's no guarantee your artist is gonna sell anything. But that work has been done. So, people don't understand when you spend, 5, 10, 11 years of your life promoting and trying to make it blow up in the record business. You get an artist who you there are getting ready to be there, and they high all the time, they drugged out, and you talking on their behalf to record executives. I remember when I met Brian Turner, the owner of Priority Records, flew me down to Hollywood, California. Uh, Negotiated 3 days, negotiated a Tulo new contract off of Rap A Lot, and that's dangerous within itself. I'm taking food off Jay Prince's table, and he ain't the type that's gonna let nobody just take food off of his damn table, in which I don't blame him. Uh, but the artist Tulo came to me, him and his mother, and say, Rodney, we really need your help. And I had to make sacrifices myself. I went to the law library over at Texas Southern University and studying and reading up on entertainment law. And I found a glitch in his contract where I said, okay, we can get you off of Rap A Lot. So we filed the documents. A minor can rescind on a contract, meaning a minor don't have to honor a contract if it's not going well. So we went to court. We filed motions to have Rap A Lot contracts voided. Before Rap A Lot could get in court, we had the contracts voided out, and had a fax copy of the order from the judge faxed down to Priority Records, and that's how Priority Records flew us in, and they offered him a position to be in the movie Friday. As a little boy riding the bicycle, and we was gonna have an album come out called Problem Child. Uh, just as sure as I got the little guy Tulo off of Rap A Lot, I was very young in the business, just on fire, wanna uh, really make this thing happen. Like Jay Prince and some of the at that time Master P was blowing up. Tony Draper here with 8 Ball and MJG was blowing up. So I felt like Houston was getting ready to be the mecca of the music business. So hey, I'm in the right place at the right time. I just need to know the knowledge that it takes to be able to do what I need to do, and that was I wanted to manage artists. So as Tulo, as we was getting ready, I negotiated $3.5 million deal for this brother, only to have his mother and him decided to go with another manager. We got a deal on the table. So when they did that, Priority Records decided that they didn't want the deal. They didn't want him anymore. So he lost the deal, and he ended up never putting out an album again because Rap A Lot had built him up, and they wasn't finna let nobody make money off of him, uh, off of the hard work Jay Prince and his staff had done. So sometimes, even as managers, you have to be careful. I started working with a guy named Ronnie Bookman. Ronnie Bookman owns one of the best and best looking studios in Houston, Texas, and Ronnie was a very nice, cool guy. Uh, but sometimes, we all discuss things that we shouldn't discuss. And so, me and Ronnie, we went out to Kingwood to this distributor, and we talked to. I didn't forgot the lady name, but I sit there and I saw her with a Rap a Lot piece on. So I knew, she probably on Jay Prince payroll as well, But Ronnie, started talking and, talking to her about, you know, uh, him and Lil James' business or their arrangement. I try not to ever talk about anything about that man because he's a brilliant brother, but he's a person, you shouldn't fear no man, but he's a person that, who is about his business and he demands respect, and he has killers on his team, that gonna do what the king say do. If he say go to war, they gonna go to war. So you got to be wise in the people you're dealing with. So word got back to Jay Prince that Ronnie, and I knew before we got out that door that white woman was going to call Jay Prince and say this, and she probably didn't say what all the things that Ronnie said, but no matter what, it got back to the Don, Jay Prince, and when you got a man as powerful as Jay Prince, you're not, he don't have to do things. He got others gonna do things for him. So we get back to the studio a few days later. Every day we at the studio recording, and a couple days later, get word that Ronnie had got jumped over there at Rap a Lot. And Fred, Fred did some bodyguard work for Rap a Lot, but he was working over at Studio 7303 with Ronnie Bookman. And they said Fred got, they said, this is secondhand, but some of it is first hand because Ronnie told me in a joking way what happened. He said, now this is first hand. And Ronnie said, Mays, they called me over there and they say, did I tell old girl this, and this? And, that's what Jay Prince had asked him. And shit, he said Jay Prince ain't say too much after that. All he did was lift up his hand and did like that there. Shit. Ronnie said them boys got to whooping his ass like it wasn't nothing. Say it's like, and so afterwards he was swole up and all that, and so he filed a lawsuit which he lost against an assault charge on Jay Prince, which he ended up losing. But you know, neither here or there. You got to be careful of some of the things you in the music business you do. And I didn't. I never. I never had. I had one guy try to over at Jam Down Records. It's so many stories, y'all. I had Lil Kiki. He had just did the song with Screw, and it had blew up, and I was trying to get him. He came to me and Mays, I need a record deal. Would you help me? And he's just as fraud, y'all. And after that, I took him to do a side artist. I think he made about 6,000 that night on an Al D song. But one guy was a Nigerian, Patrick was the owner. Patrick and the other guy dead now. But Patrick, they gonna try to hem me up and act like they gonna jump me or something so they can get Kiki. Kiki, I was helping Kiki. Kiki wasn't signed to me, and Kiki was in on that shit. You know, that day I almost got him. I was gonna kill Kiki and Patrick and everybody there, and it wasn't over the fact that Kiki was my artist and they stole him. Kiki wasn't my artist; he was someone I was helping, and if he was that dirty, well, he was gonna get a guy who was gonna be potential his manager and gonna guide him. You lead me into a situation like that, that'll get you killed and get anyone killed because you're putting my safety at risk when I'm fighting for you and making you. I had just made him $6,000. 20% of that I made 600 that night. That ain't bad, but just like he didn't know about publishing, know about contract negotiations, BDS reports, sound scans. He didn't know anything about that. He's a little dummy out of the hood. Not, we cool now, but at that particular time, uh, that's the way I felt. I felt his he wasn't loyal to someone who was being loyal to him. So his song "Pimpin' the Pen," draped up and dripped out. Know what I'm talking about? It's blowing up, but it was blowing up under Screw name, and some people would think that that was Screw rapping, but that was never. Screw wasn't a rapper. He was a DJ, and so and the majority where he made his money was on his mixtape. He did those big projects. I think he did about maybe three, and then Russell put one out by after his he was deceased. So and so many people. I just wanted to say this. I never really talked about Screw after death, and I did one interview which was with the News Houston Chronicle. Um, I always warn Robert of the power of our mouth and our words, and we have to be careful. And I tried to teach that to all my artists. We have to be careful of what we putting over the airwaves, and if we putting drinking syrup and getting fucked up all over, it's not going to be a good sight with the universe. You know, you got to put some positive in the universe instead of all of that negative. And Chameleonaire and all of the guys, Slim Thug and Paul Wall and Mike Jones, Houston was banging, because then it went from the south side to the north side. Michael 5000 Watts, style that Screw had invented or created, uh, started blowing up on the north side because a lot of the north side guys wanted Switzer House, and all the south side people wanted DJ Screw. So you had that. It wasn't never, and Watts came to me also because I had a not radio list, a retail list that every record store with pretty much down south I had a connection with, or they was buying music from either Russell or trying to get Screw tapes from us. So we had a extensive buyers list. We could hit the highway and go all down south, and be able to do a record tour, a tour, and be able to pull at least 100,000 off the road at that time through our distributors. So that was one of the biggest things. But I've always, even with Big Mo, all of them brothers there from the south side, they really couldn't blow up like the north side. Uh, I don't think we got anyone from the south side and up under the screwed up clique ever sold 1 million copies. You know, now you got Houstonians, people coming from Houston like Travis Scott, they selling millions of copies. Chameleon has sold million, got a platinum. Other than, the norms, Scarface, Rap a Lot crew, who's putting up those type numbers. No one, Mike Jones sold 1 million copies. Slim Thug probably sold gold somewhere up there. We know Chameleon has sold 1 million copies. Mike Jones did 1 million on that. Who is Mike Jones? And then, of course, Lil Troy didn't even do nothing. And we was gonna fight one day. We was finna, I had went into my homeboy house, y'all, and I'm not gonna be on here long, but I didn't have no beef with Lil Troy, But the song "Wanna Be a Baller" had my artists on it, and when I became his manager, hey, he need to get paid. And so I was over my homeboy Kev house over in Third Ward, and Lil Troy was in there. So I come in, I'm speaking to everybody. I speak to this nigga. He was like, "Nigga, I don't fuck with you." I said, "Well, fuck you too, ho. I don't fuck with you. What it do?" Like that, going into it. Okay, nigga, it do what it do. I don't have no beef with you, because his record label didn't, hell, because my attorneys, I had attorneys Fulbright and Jaworski, Robert Hoffman, and can't think of the other guy's name. Now he's ran for judge. But anyway, we all up in mediation because you owe me money if you owe him money. And God damn it, I want my money. Want to be a baller solo all that there, and youngster ain't get his money. And at that time, I got a contract on him to manage him, and I want mine. So the big time lawyers are in it and everything like that. So I don't know what it did to him, or I didn't even give a damn. But the bottom line was, hey, this is mine. You pay people, and you won't have that problem. We won't have to go to court, and Sony and Universal don't have to. Nobody should have to be pulled off the shelves. Let's get everybody understood. So that was the problem with me and Lil Troy, because Lil Troy didn't rap now verse on the album. And Youngster did a freestyle on the album, but regardless, he should get all his publishing, and you have no legal right to sell the publishing off. It was just people's paperwork wasn't in line. And when you got a smart guy or someone who knows a little bit more than they do, then you are a threat to them. You just doing your job, but you're a threat. I'm a threat to you. You mad and hate me and want to fight me because I'm doing my job for this man who hired me. So that's what kind of way it was at that particular time, and some things we ran into in Houston. But I know I talked a long time. I'm gonna get back with y'all on DJ Screw, Robert Earl Davis. We did a lot of good things together, whereby we could have made better music. The narcotics and things like that. Those were, just pain. You know, some of the pain he was going through. So, but y'all tune into my YouTube channel. I don't talk about music business at all. I just wanted to do something about the true story of Robert Earl Davis, because so many people got stories, and I know this brother wasn't with them every day or wasn't even around them, because he kept a low key. I know so many people now who claim they was part of the screwed up clique uh, that I never saw before in my life. Uh, and I don't know what type of stories they have with this brother. He's been gone a while. His music still lives. His legacy still stands here in Houston, and you know, his shop's still open. It's just in a new location, and hey, it is what it is. So thank y'all for tuning in. This is gonna be my YouTube. I just wanted to give y'all a few. I don't want to talk no hours because I can't talk hours. 30 minutes is long enough. Y'all got 40 minutes out of me. Y'all be good. Take care. Tune in to the YouTube channel. This is your boy.